269 deaths, 117 years, and the Isle of Man is still running. Every government that's tried to stop it has failed. Here's why. In 1904, racing on public roads in Britain was illegal. The Motor Car Act capped every car at 20 miles per hour. There was no way around it. So a group of racing enthusiasts did something nobody saw coming. They didn't fight the law. They just left. They found a small island in the Irish Sea, the Isle of Man. It had its own parliament, its own laws, and no obligation to follow anything the UK decided. The Manx government said yes immediately. They passed their own law allowing road racing. The first event ran in 1904. The first motorcycle TT followed in 1907. That legal structure still protects the race today. The Isle of Man's parliament is called Tynwald. It is the oldest continuous parliament in the world. It has made its own laws since 979 AD. When the UK passes a law, it does not apply to the Isle of Man. Westminster has to explicitly extend it, and Tynwald has to agree. So every UK road safety law, every motorsport regulation, every attempt to shut the race down, none of it applies. Not unless the Isle of Man wants it to. They never have. A legal loophole got it started. But what kept it alive for 117 years? That's where it gets uncomfortable. In 2019, the TT made £37 million for the island in 2 weeks. The Isle of Man has a population of 84,000 people. The COVID pandemic cost the Manx Treasury £246 million. The TT is not a sporting event. It is a financial pillar they cannot lose. Every June, the island fills up. Hotels are booked years ahead. Every pub, every restaurant, every guest house. Tens of thousands of fans fly in just for the racing. The Manx government does not just allow the TT, it owns the commercial rights. It funds it, it promotes it. The government is not managing a dangerous event. It is the event's biggest financial stakeholder, and the TT is only part of it. The Isle of Man has built its entire economy around doing what bigger countries won't. Online gambling, crypto services, digital finance, all drawn in by low taxes and a government that says yes when others say no. Banning the TT would not just end a race, it would tell every business on that island that the Manx government folds under pressure. That signal would cost far more than £37 million. So the money protects it, but money can be argued away. The real reason ban campaigns fail comes down to one word: the consent problem. Here is what stops every ban attempt. Nobody is forced to race. Nobody is forced to watch. Everyone there chose to be there. They know exactly what can happen. Before any rider competes, they sign a waiver. It states the risk of injury. It states the risk of death. Riders read it and sign it anyway, every year. In 2022, 5 riders died in a single TT fortnight, the most deaths in one event since 1970. The backlash was immediate. Media demanded a ban. Pressure groups wrote to the government. The government ran a safety review. They cut the number of starters. They added GPS tracking. They made changes. But they did not consider a ban. Banning something that adults have chosen to do is very hard to justify legally. You have to argue that adults cannot assess their own risk. Every signed waiver says otherwise, and riders are not victims. Many of them are the loudest voices against any ban. They say the TT is the only race where skill matters more than the machine. 37 miles, 219 corners, stone walls inches from the racing line, average speeds above 130 miles per hour. It demands everything. That is why they say nothing else comes close. After the 2022 TT, newspapers didn't hold back. Motorsport.com called it the event's most violent year since 1989. Social media trended with calls to shut it down. Pressure groups wrote directly to the Manx government, but the riders pushed back just as hard. Factory Honda rider Glenn Irwin, fresh off his debut TT race, told press the experience was mind-blowing, then said he'd be back. Motorsport.com reported that fallen riders would be the last ones to want it banned. The government read every letter, commissioned a safety review, reduced starter numbers, added GPS tracking, and kept racing. Legal protection economic dependency, informed consent. 3 walls around the same race. But the 4th one is what makes politicians go quiet. Joey Dunlop won 26 TT races over 2 decades. He was the most decorated rider in the event's history. He died in a racing accident in Estonia in July 2000. His funeral drew 50,000 people on an island of 84,000. The TT is not just a race to people here, it is part of who they are. Families pass race day traditions down through generations. Locals who have lost friends to the course still stand on the roadside every June. Every village along the 37-mile route has a connection to this race that goes back further than living memory. Tynwald is elected by Manx voters. Its members answer to those voters, and those voters keep returning governments that back the TT. Any politician who campaigned to ban the race would not last. The cultural weight of the event is a democratic shield. No outside pressure can get through it. In 2024, Michael Dunlop, Joey's nephew, won his 29th TT, the most wins by any single rider ever. That same year, the race had 0 fatalities for the first time since 2012. Supporters say that proves the race evolves, that safety works, that a ban was never the answer. And here is what ban campaigns keep missing. Every year the TT runs, the case against it gets weaker. New safety records, new riders who chose to enter with open eyes, new businesses tied to the event. The race does not just survive, it gets harder to stop every single year. Which brings us to the one time a powerful body actually tried to kill it. And what happened next? In 1976, after a run of high-profile deaths, the TT was removed from the World Championship calendar. The FIM, the global governing body of motorcycle racing, pulled out completely. Most people thought that was the end. No World Championship, no factory teams, no global recognition. How long could a road race on a small island last? It didn't just survive, it grew. Without the FIM's rules, the TT became something no other race could be. It answered to nobody. It became its own thing entirely. Privateer riders came in. The race built its own culture and its own legends. By the time the FIM looked back at road racing, the TT had already moved past needing them. That same thing has happened every time pressure has been applied. Every attempt to shrink the race has made the Isle of Man dig in harder. The legal structure was built to resist this, and the island uses it every time. The UK cannot ban it. The FIM cannot ban it. The EU has no reach here. There is no body on Earth that can walk into Tynwald and shut it down. 269 people have died on this road since 1907. The reason is not stubbornness. It is structure. Legal, economic, cultural, and democratic. Built over a century. Each one backing the others up, you can think the race should not exist. You can look at the death toll and feel that. But you cannot ban something that was built from day one to be out of reach. Drop what you want covered next in the comments. See you there!